Hi guys, it's Sienna. Welcome back to my channel. I missed you guys so much. I'm so sorry that I haven't been posting these sit-down videos lately. I love making these, but I just haven't had the time. And now I just came back from my trip to Australia. I vlogged the whole trip, by the way, so hopefully I can edit that very soon and have it uploaded. This trip was extra special because I got to visit my childhood best friend and I turned 25. 25 is an important age for me because all my childhood I've looked forward to turning 25 for some reason. I was just so excited to be in my mid-20s, have life figured out, doing the things that I wanted to be doing, and I felt like I would be in a stable place. I'm really looking forward to growing older, and I think it's a privilege, and I think growing older is a beautiful thing. But let's go straight into the video. Here are 25 life lessons I learned by the age of 25. I know that we all have different life experiences, and these are just things that I learned by the age of 25. Just take it as maybe an older sister advice. Not everything is about age. I think that people walk on different walks of life, you know, no matter what age. But yeah, I just wanted to share my personal experiences because I know that when I was younger, I was on YouTube and I was watching these types of videos a lot, and it helped me a lot. And if anything, it made me really look forward to growing older and getting into my mid-20s. I love it when people share. I love it when people are vulnerable. So I wish to do that today in today's video. Number one is to embrace your alone time. When I was younger, I was terrified of being alone. I was terrified to eat alone, to walk around alone, to go to the mall alone. I always felt like I needed to be with my flock of people. But now I love and value my alone time. I even make time so that I can be alone in the week. So for example, if I'm going out Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I make sure that I will not have any plans coming up on a Friday, so I can just stay home, you know, pray, read my Bible, journal, bake, clean, watch movies, edit my videos. I love the alone time that I get, and the older I get, the more I realize how special it is. Instead of being so terrified of being alone and feeling lonely, I grew to really cherish the time that I get to spend by myself. It's going to help you grow into a more confident person that is content with being alone. The next lesson that I learned is that there is beauty in vulnerability, but be careful not to overshare. This is something that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self. You know, in life, there are people that you're gonna meet who are lovely, and they're gonna encourage you, and they're gonna celebrate your wins with you. However, there are also people that thrive in your downfall. Pay attention to the difference and don't overshare with the people that are wishing ill upon you. I know it's gonna be hard to spot these people, but as you get older, I feel like through meeting different types of people, you learn to see who is really there for you and who just is asking you how you're doing so that they can get the drama, get the tea. They don't really care how you're doing. The next lesson that I learned is that you do not have to be everyone's friend. Growing up Asian, and growing up to be polite and be kind to people pleaser, basically. I felt like everywhere that I went, I needed people to love me. And if you don't love me instantly, what am I doing wrong? I used to be a massive people pleaser, and I think I still am, but I'm getting a lot better now because I know when I walk into a room, wherever I am, not everyone is gonna like me, and if anything, it doesn't reflect upon what I did wrong, but more like we just don't get along. Like, there are people that you meet who isn't gonna be your type of people, and it's fine. You just learn that, oh, someone's different. Maybe, you know, they're reacting in a way that I wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that I hate that person. It just means we're different, and I don't have to get your acceptance. Everyone is just human, and they all have their bad days, and they feel uncomfortable sometimes, they feel awkward sometimes. It helps me feel like I'm not such a weirdo. Don't overthink it. Just be yourself everywhere you go. Auditions, interviews, friend gatherings. Now, because of the job that I have to be social and I have to meet a lot of people, and I grew to really love doing that. I like going to events by myself because although I meet people that I don't vibe with, I also meet a lot of really great people. Next, no matter where you go, if you just have one or two best friends that you feel like truly get you, you've succeeded. Choose quality over quantity when it comes to friendships. I know you probably hear this a lot on social media. I moved around a lot when I was younger, and I felt like everywhere that I went, I needed a whole clique of friends. And I was really sad because I didn't have a lot of friends. But I remember this one close friend actually told me, no matter where you go in life, as long as you have one or two really close best friends that you can share anything with, what more do you want? You should be grateful for even that, because a lot of people don't even have that. I'm so grateful of the very few friends that I have today because we have such a deep, rare friendship where I feel like it's very spiritual. Next, cherish your time that you have with your family. This is such an older sister advice. If someone said to me when I was younger, I would have been like, ugh, roll my eyes. I feel like at 25, your frontal lobe really develops. I feel it working overtime these days. When you're young, you feel like your parents just don't get you and your siblings are so annoying. But the older you get, the more you realize that there's literally no one like family. Next is that everything is temporary, both the good and the bad. Try to find comfort in that. There's comfort in the fact that the pain that you feel right now and the environment that you feel that you are trapped in is literally all temporary. You can break out of that cycle. And who knows, one day you might actually end up reminiscing over those times. Now I feel like I've healed a lot from my past and I'm able to sit down with my friends and my family and talk about everything that has happened in the past and kind of reminisce over it. And I'm really grateful for all the everything that I went through. The next advice is I'm speaking to younger girls and even to myself, especially to myself, is that every body is different. Hear that again. Every single body is different. I hated my body growing up. I was never skinny enough. I was never curvy enough. I used to really beat myself up over my weight and what I ate and what I looked like. I used to just go crazy over that stuff and I was really unhealthy. But now I've learned to slowly embrace my body shape and find styles and clothing that fit me and made me feel comfortable. I unfollowed every single influencer on Instagram that was making me feel sick, making me feel disgusted about my own body. You know, a lot of the things that you see online are photoshopped. I used to photoshop a lot of my pictures as well. Sometimes I still catch myself doing it and I have to be like, no, it's not only bad for my followers to see that, but it's bad for my own mental health as well, because I do not look like how I look on Instagram when I look in the mirror. The next advice kind of goes along with the advice that I was just talking about. It is to eat for your health and not for your looks. This is a body that you were given for the rest of your life. Make sure that you nourish it. Make sure that you feed it, you take care of it. I like to work out every now and then, and every single time after I've done a workout, I like to just I take a shower and I just thank myself for showing up. I'm gonna start crying. Why am I feeling emotional? I really struggled a lot with my weight and what I look like and with food in general. You really have to start talking to yourself kindly for your health. And after you work out, it makes such a big difference to start talking to yourself and be grateful for yourself. Thank yourself for showing up today and for putting in the time to work out and take care of yourself. And sometimes that makes me cry. All right, next, it is okay to set boundaries. Look out for yourself because no one else is gonna look out for yourself. And don't be sorry. When I was younger, I used to first of all, I would always say yes to everything, even if I was not comfortable with it. And then later on, I began to slowly start getting more comfortable saying no. But I would also follow that up with a reason. No, I can't go out because. No, I don't wanna do that because. But now, I don't know, one day I just woke up and I felt like I don't even need to give anyone else a reason. If I don't want to do something, if I don't want to go somewhere, I don't need to give a reason. I just can say, no, I don't want to do that, and then move on. The next advice is to only compete with yourself. Comparison kills. My mom used to always compare me to other kids when I was younger, and my diary used to be filled with, I hate this person because my mom says she does this better than me and I don't want to do math anymore. Comparison really kills. It is such a negative thing in your life. Every single person is going through different walks of life, and I constantly have to catch myself comparing myself to other people, comparing my life to other people, comparing my bank account to other people, comparing what I don't have and do have with other people. And at the end of the day, this is your life. You don't need to measure your success by looking at your left and your right. Set goals for yourself. Just focus on that. Surround yourself with people that are rooting for you and pushing you, and they are making you want to be a better person. Be inspired by them, but don't look at them as competition. You can't avoid being cringe, no matter how hard you try. I actually saw this on an Instagram post the other day and I thought it was so true. No matter how hard I try not to be cringe, I'm always gonna be cringe to some people. I wouldn't have started my YouTube, I wouldn't have started my TikTok, my Instagram, I wouldn't have been able to live the life that I've always wanted to do if I was terrified of being cringe, and if I was terrified and concerned about what people that I went to middle school with for like a year of my life think of me. I feel like it builds character. I think it's a great thing to be cringe sometimes. The next advice is that nobody can achieve your dreams but you. You have to remember that no one wants the best for yourself more than you do. There's so many things that I try not to dwell on the past, but there's still a couple things that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself. You know, for example, I've always wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I've always wanted to be in front of the camera. I don't know what I wanted to do. Probably acting when I was younger, but I was also terrified of what other people might think of me. And I don't know, I feel like God gives you the desires of your heart, right? So everything that you want, it was kind of given to you by God. And even if you're not Christian, I know there's other, you know, if you're spiritual, there is like that law of attraction, I think. Like you have to think everything that you want, you already got in a parallel universe. And it's so true when you get older. It's like, I thought everyone wanted to be an actress, but then one day you get older and you realize that people wanted to be scientists. And it's like, wow, you actually want to be those things. Everyone has different interests and you need to go after it. That's one thing that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, is to just go after it, because God planted this desire in your heart for a reason. In life, you will be wronged. Don't seek revenge on your own. Let God take care of it. The best revenge is to glow up and focus on your life and do better and not dwell in the past. When you choose to forgive another person for doing you wrong, because in life there are people gonna do you wrong, you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself. There's so many people that I had to forgive who didn't even ask for my forgiveness. I had to forgive them because I wanted to do that for myself so that I could evolve, be stronger, and get thicker skin and set boundaries for myself and to become the woman that I am today. There's a weird connotation and a weird stereotype that sometimes people think that forgiveness is for the weak, but it's not. There is strength in forgiveness. It takes a lot of strength, therapy, and hard work for you to wake up one day and do all of that on your own, especially towards someone that didn't even ask for your forgiveness. Everything will be a memory one day. Try to embrace the journey. I remember when I was a broke college student, like super broke, and I was working a part-time job. I could barely afford rent and food. And I just was not miserable because I was still very grateful for the opportunity to go to college, but it was a definitely very hard time in my life. And most of the time I was complaining about where I am in my life. And cut to a couple years later, and I was doing things and I was working with brands that I remember, for example, I love the brand Laneige. It's a skincare brand in Korea. And when I was in college and I was really broke, I remember I wanted the water bank cream because I love their creams, but it was pretty expensive. So I would save up for months and months and months, put that money aside, and then buy the moisturizer and then use it for like 6 months. And now I am so grateful because I get to work with those dream brands that I remember wanting to save up so hard for, and I get PR packages from them and I get to email them, and it's just such an amazing, you know, full circle moment for me. And now I can actually talk about my struggles, you know, my struggle days, and kind of, you know, smile about it and be super grateful for the opportunities that I have today. The fact that everything does happen for a reason, I am a firm believer in that. Especially the more you live, I feel like you have more full circle moments. And lately I've been feeling like everything is so connected. When I was younger, the number one question that I had was, I used to ask my granddad, like, well, how does God know tomorrow? How does God know what's gonna happen tomorrow? How does God know everything that's gonna happen, you know, in time? I remember, you know, just really dwelling on that question. And now I've come to realize that the way that God sees time is that he sees the past, present, and future all at once. And I didn't understand that until like this week because I feel like there's just been so many full circle moments when I feel like, oh my gosh, it's just like past, present, future is all connecting and happening at the same time all at once. The next advice is that for those that are trying to figure out love, the topic of love, I used to think that love came to you naturally and it doesn't really require effort. It's just, if it was meant to be, it will be. It's like destiny. However, I've come to realize that love is not effortless. It actually requires a lot of effort, especially the long-term relationships. I want to get married one day and I don't want to get divorced. And I feel like the people that end up making it, you constantly have to show up for each other. You constantly have to get to know the other person. You constantly have to learn to love the other person. Love takes a lot of effort and commitment. But when you find the right person, it's gonna be a little easier for you to do that. All right, the next advice is a full circle moment for me, because I remember I used to see this quote every single day in the mornings in elementary school, because they had a poster of a cat looking into the mirror and seeing a lion in front of our school when I first walk into the hallways. And the quote was, "What matters most is how you see yourself." I remember reading this quote every single day when I was younger, and then it was only until like a couple of years ago where it really hit me. What matters most is how you see yourself. This is kind of like my life motto. Wherever I go, there are always like rumors made up about me. Even doing what I do now, there are rumors online about me and people leaving hate comments about things that are simply not true. It's so easy for me, because I am a very sensitive person, for things like that to really get to me and bother me. And then it did for a long time in my life. I always have to constantly remind myself that what matters most is how I see myself. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? Do I see someone that is kind? Do I see someone that is trying hard to be a better person? Do I see someone that is not caring? Do I see someone that is empathetic? Do I see someone that is a hard worker? And it's fine if you look in the mirror and you're like, hey, I have not been very nice lately. But yeah, I constantly want to work on myself. I constantly want to journal and evolve as a human being, be the best version of myself. So I hold that advice very dear to me, and I hope it stands out to you too. The next advice is literally like to myself. I want to tell myself, be less about the numbers, especially when it comes to, you know, how many followers, how much you weigh, how much you have. Obviously, those things are important, especially, you know, as someone that is doing the line of work that I do. Sometimes I get in my head a lot about numbers and materialistic things. And lately, I've been wanting to detach from that and instead count the ways that I'm grateful for, the things that I'm happy about. I experience emotions very deeply, and when my boyfriend started noticing that sometimes I let things get to me a little too much, he would constantly tell me to just name 3 things that you were grateful for today. And at first I was annoyed, like, this is so cliche, I don't have time for this, I want to rant. But I started listening to that advice and I started counting 3 things that I'm grateful for every single day, and it just made me become more positive, and it lifted a lot off my shoulders. And I definitely want to continue doing that. Pick up hobbies. This is very, very important. I started picking up hobbies during COVID when I was under lockdown, and I did crochet, I did baking, I did cooking, I started pole dance. I think it's so important for you to have hobbies, especially in a society where everything is about work and you come home and you're so exhausted. It's so important for you to find what you like. You're kind of taking the time to discover yourself again. Next is to say yes to opportunities, but be okay with staying home. I used to get a lot of FOMO. Felt like I was missing out a lot. You know, they say it's not FOMO anymore, it's the joy of missing out, and I stand by that. Next is to remember that you are still growing. I made this video about 25 life lessons I learned by the age of 25. However, I realized that I still have a long way to go. I still have a lot to realize. I was talking to my friend and she told me that her mom said life really turned around for the better when she hit her 50s. But one thing that I realized can happen, and it has happened to me, is that in life, when you surround yourself with people that are a few steps ahead of you, you start to feel sorry for yourself. This is coming from my experience. I started to feel like I was not worthy, and I remember I showed up to this job and other people were just so much better than me than I was, obviously because that was my first day. I remember coming home and I remember crying. But my boyfriend told me that instead of feeling sorry for yourself, Just be glad that you met this person. Be glad that you met this person now so that they will motivate you to work harder. So you never know, in about a year or 10 years, you're gonna meet another young girl and you're gonna make her feel really bad by how competent you are. The next one is a very important one for me. It is to trust your instincts, especially as women. I feel like you really have to go with your gut. There's so many incidences that happen in my life that I could have easily avoided if I would have just listened to myself. Practice listening to your gut. You know, listen to your body. I used to lead with my heart. Every decision that I made, it would come from the heart. And then people told me, no, you gotta think with your brain. Duh, you have to make decisions with your brain. But now I realize, especially if you are, I don't know, more spiritual, or especially if you're a woman, because I think women are we just have like deeper, stronger instincts when it comes to certain things. I would say to listen to your body. If something's not right, you're gonna feel sick, you're gonna get a stomach ache. All right, next one is to get in the habit of picking a sport that you really like. We have to start working out. But I think it's really important for us to have a sport that we really like doing. For me, it's pole dance. It started as a hobby, and then I realized it has so many amazing benefits to your body, so I pole dance as a sport. But I think it's important for you to have two hobbies. One is just for fun, it helps you de-stress, and the other one is to help you develop into a better person, like for example working out or learning a new language or picking up a new skill. All right, next advice is to try and live in the present. As someone that constantly talks about the past and thinks about the future, I forget to live in the present. Before you know it, everything that you're experiencing today will only be a memory. So try to live in the present and journal as much as you can. The last advice that I have for today is that life doesn't go as planned. I used to have a 5-year plan, and although I think it's great for you to have plans for your life and to set goals for yourself, which I still do. So I used to be a big planner. I used to plan 5 years into my future, 10 years into my future, things I want, things I need to have. But then COVID happened, and it made me really just focus on my life in the present and set goals for myself that I can achieve in the next year. Although I think it's great for people to have plans for themselves, I also think that good advice to hear that life doesn't always go as planned. Yeah, sometimes it is better. So those are 25 life lessons that I learned by the age of 25. Please let me know 3 lessons that you learned by the age of however old you are. Again, these are just my life experiences that I felt like were very important to me, and just some advice that I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self. So thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video and staying for this very long video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you guys want to follow me on my other social media accounts, you definitely should, because I'm more active there. My Instagram is at siennahong and my TikTok is at siennah.hong. Love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!